Yeah, so Sonia owns like we also have duties here that we do within the village to keep like create that space of um yeah, so we can be regenerative and sustainable. So we have little boxes. We haven't made like a complete transition, and that won't. Some it depends. Like if you're a villager aspect of it, then you would be somebody that kind of works in those spaces more often. Since I'm doing like a leadership thing, I have a couple of things that I do in the village, and I concentrate on the leadership aspect.
Yeah.
Her box right now is the greenhouse. She just took that over with somebody else, and um, one of the guy that was holding it, Dennis, he created this whiteboard and has all these tasks on it. Well, he was frustrated because like only like 10% of the tasks had been like picked up, and so he got triggered by that the other day and erased it, the whole board, and then put on there the plants won't plant themselves. So she went behind him and erased that. And
Funny.
is is basically so she's like now feeling John just walked her back to, she had to go into a space of being a smart kid because that's what her parents put her in, like made her think that that's what she needed to be something in this world. And so she's been um, thinking that she's, I guess, again, this is kind of where I left. It's where she's thinking that she has this veil that she is this smart kid, and makes it, I guess, says other people, well, it doesn't say other people are dumb because she doesn't want to face it in the present. She wants to bypass it. So she actually says, like, for instance, it was Dennis's dad. She saw Dennis's dad and the plants won't plant themselves saying. So she doesn't actually have to go through the motion. So she masks that by not confronting the person directly, but confronting the person's the person through their dad or this, other end.
Right. Afraid of confrontation, possibly too, or
Uh,
afraid of going to the source, kind of.
yeah, that's it's probably part of it. And again, I stepped away, like as she was just breaking through to that part where she felt ignorant and came into the space that she realized that, because that was also what John had to do. Like his mom put him up on this pedestal that he would actually never be able to fill. Like, so he was always chasing something, thinking that he was going to be, trying to be this what his mom had created, and he could never do it, so he just numbed himself and went that route. And
Right.
so
Expectations from his mother. Okay.
and that's what his her parents set, was expectations that she was going to be this very smart, yeah, very smart kid. So
Right. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff going on in the village visionary program. It's just so fascinating. Everything, like
it,
all the synchronicities and yeah. Go ahead. What?
it's beautiful. Like I'm so honored to be able to be a part of it because I've never had the ability to have conversations with people like this. Like I've always just observed what was going on and had those conversations by myself. There was like maybe there was really one person that I could speak to, and that was Melissa's mom, my ex's mom. And
Right.
she's actually here. She's visiting the village right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
what's happening, Sarah? Bienvenidos.
Hey,
Hi, Sarah.
hi, sweetie.
Yeah. So Stephen you were just talking, you could tell her what you were talking about, stuff going on in the village.
Yeah, so we're still, the last 3 days we've stuck at the breakfast table from breakfast till past lunch. At least a contingent of people. Some people did have stuff to do, and I probably should have, but there was so much like gold in it that I couldn't leave, you know. So today, Sonia, one of the ladies that was on the call last week, and this is why I'm just doing it within my room today, is because they're all still at the breakfast table, so it was kind of pointless to set everything up. And I was there till the last minute. But she's her and Dennis got into a little rift because she took over the greenhouse, and then he got upset and triggered because people weren't filling out, like taking up boxes to do within the greenhouse and within the, you know, permaculture stuff around here. So he, in his trigger moment, erased the board, erased all the tasks that were there, and then wrote on the board, the plants won't plant themselves, or something along those lines. So coming behind him, she erased it. And then he actually wrote on it again. So it was on there this morning. Plants won't plant and water themselves. And John was like, actually, you know, they do, right? Good. Otherwise, we would have none if we didn't exist. So, in that, she's going through a breakthrough. One, she wasn't wanting to feel her feelings and go through that aspect. And what came about was when he called her ignorant and stupid, and because that was what she felt like through some of the process. So he started calling her that, and she was like, yeah, my dad always called me smart. So basically her dad created this image of her that she's been trying to fit into, and in that could never fit into it, but she was worn the mask of it, and then kind of calls other people stupid because of that, but doesn't really call them stupid. She bypasses it by saying that what, like for Dennis, what he wrote on the board was the plants won't plant themselves. So she was like, I saw your father in that message, that the dictator that he was to you. So she wouldn't confront Dennis directly. She was confronting his dad, who isn't here to confront directly and isn't in reality. You know, you can't do that within the here and now. So there's like a multifaceted thing. One, that she has this space that she's been trying to fit into her whole life and hasn't been able to. And then two, I think the confrontation thing, which again, I had to leave in the middle of it. So my guess is that probably will be talked about as well. So yay, breakfast and breakthroughs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like that's also, I guess that's projection. So when you yourself feel stupid, you will usually go around calling other people stupid. I mean, that's what I've seen in my life. But yeah, so it's like you see the world as you are, or you feel stupid, you're gonna call other people stupid more. I don't know if you know what I mean? Like if
I resonate with it. It's the hurt people, you know?
Yeah.
And if where you're hurt is most likely where you're going to try to hurt people, because that's where you feel insecure about yourself.
Right. Oh, we have two Sarahs. Hi, two Sarahs. Hi,
I
twins.
have no idea why I'm doing that.
They're
Huh?
wearing the same stuff.
Well, how is that happening?
I don't know. I'm on the same phone and I have no idea how that's
Okay.
happening.
Okay.
Oh, now it went away.
Yeah, it locked in that way.
An anomaly. I was gonna just say something interesting happened to me yesterday. Was I went to drop my daughter off at her track. No, I went to pick her up at her track because I was practicing with Steven. I said I have to go pick up my daughter a little earlier, so I had to go quickly and pick her up. And so I go down this dirt road, and which is a dirt road that supposed to lead to the building of the track where she does track. And And I've been going down that road for a long time. And sometimes there's a chain up and sometimes there's not. And last time I dropped her off, which was like a few weeks ago, there were no chains up and I was able to go through the dirt road. And it's right near my old house. So I remember, so I'm going down this dirt road and I see the chains up and I had to call my daughter. I'm like, can you just run to here? Cause you're going to be late for I had to take her to her rehearsal. She's in this Wizard of Oz play. So I'm like, let me just wait here for you, while you just run to me, because if not, you're gonna be late. So she convinced me not to do that. She convinced me to go all the way around and pick her up from the building, which I was, okay, I was like, backed up. Then I was like, let me back up and start heading toward the other side of the building, whatever. And this lady comes at me like waving at me. And plus I'm in a hurry because she had to get to rehearsal like really quickly, like ASAP. And this lady's just trying to stop me, like waving her hand up. And I'm like, why is this lady doing this? I was like a little confused. And so she's going like this, like trying to stop me. And in my mind, I'm like, is she trying to stop me because she's trying to ask me a question? Or is she trying to stop me because she's trying to tell me something that's not nice? So I rolled down my window a little bit and then she's like, hey. And she just had this look on her face, like she wanted to yell at me. So I was like, I just kept driving. Like I'm in a hurry, so I'm going to keep driving past her. And so she starts saying something like, you're trespassing. And then I sped off. I'm speeding off. And she's like, you fucking bitch. So, but so it's funny because if this would, and then I just left and I kind of laughed at it. And I just recognized like this like villain side to her or something. I'm recognizing the dynamic of like, she's wanting to, tell me off or, and then I'm going to have to, and then she's going to want to hear me saying sorry. Meanwhile, this is a dirt road I've gone down for years and there's never been an issue. There was no trespassing sign whatsoever. So I don't know. I was like in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm too busy to just really stop. And I just sped off. And it didn't even look like, it wasn't a private property. It just, it was just, I've gone down there for years. Like it's near a field and a pool. And I don't know. So it was just funny because it's like years ago, I probably have been like roll down my window and be like, fuck you. Like it's like my tough New Yorker side, but or I would have gotten loud or something, or I would have gotten upset maybe, like if she would have started on me, I would have gotten upset, let it bother me. But I just like didn't really flinch. I was just kind of laughing at it. So I can see kind of like how I'm transformed by probably through earth waking, just being the observer of her I don't know how she's shown up in the world or what she's trying to do, and I'm seeing her as like a villain. I don't know. So was my observation.
And you could feel her energy, like you could tell that she was had like a negative energy going on, or you just, what if you weren't in a rush, would you have would you have spoke to her?
If I wasn't in a rush, I probably would have stopped to see what she was trying to say to me. And then I probably would have, I would have just been, well, the thing is, it's hard because, that whole sorry thing, I'm trying to get away from it. So, when you say you're sorry, like sorry, but in my mind, I'm like, why should I be sorry, right? Because in my mind, I didn't do anything wrong, right? So why should I be sorry if I had no clue that I was trespassing? Because this is like a general road, so probably at this point I would have stopped and heard what she had to say, and I probably would have been calmer about it, calmer than in the past, and probably would have. But see, my first initial reaction would have been to say sorry, but I was like not wanting. I would have tried to not do that or say that. I would have tried to diffuse it with saying something different, which I haven't figured out what I would say in place of sorry. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah.
Yeah, what is used instead of sorry? You
Apology. I
I
apologize.
apologize, right? That's what I've been doing. Yeah.
because anytime anybody says I'm sorry to me at this moment in time, I'm saying I don't want your sorrow. That's how I've been returning that. But then I was like, all right, yeah, how do people come to that? So yeah, I
Yeah.
apologize. I've been coming down this road for years, and yeah, you never know just what even a small communication could have done. You don't know from her perspective. Maybe people are coming down there. Is there a house back there? Is it dark and
There's
woody?
no house. It's all wide open. It's like a yellow building. Maybe it was a commercial building, but it never, in my mind, it was always like a public road, like a dirt little. I used to go to the pool because there's a pool I go to here in town. So I used to use that road to go to the pool. And I never seen no trespassing signs ever. And so I was just like, I was just really like, kind of like, just taken aback. Like, why is this lady trying to yell at me, you know?
So it was something that wasn't typical for you, so it was out, and then also that's probably the same for her, or from her perspective, it probably wasn't a custom maybe for somebody to be coming down that way while she was there, if nothing else.
I'm thinking it could have been that maybe this is what I'm thinking, because it is 2023, things have changed. I don't really go down that road that often. I haven't recently anyway. So I'm thinking maybe somebody bought the building,
Hmm.
and maybe that was an abandoned building. I don't know all the details, but and then maybe since they bought the building, they feel that it's their property and people shouldn't come down that road. And there was a chain. The last time I went down there was no chain. But maybe by putting up the chains, it was a sign of like no trespassing. But I didn't know all of that. So, but the chains were down further. So, I mean, in my mind, I'm like, this is just a road I used to go down. And if there was a chain, I thought it like belonged to the town. Like, would they put the chains up because there's a baseball field, and then there's a athletic center for the track, and then there's a pool. So I figured it's just like a community area that people just put the chain up. I didn't really, there was no house, or so I was a little baffled, but
Well, I'm interested to hear what she says when you go back to talk to her today.
I
You
don't
got
know. I mean,
you were MIA for a second.
but oh no, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to bump into her again, but I don't think I'm going to go down that road. But I guess my point is that I would have gotten very pissed off at her, or it would have just bothered me probably for the rest of the night. I probably would have been talking to my friends about it. I probably would have been regurgitating it and like, can you believe what she did? And but it's like I just kind of like threw my hands up in the air. I'm like, okay, that's just a dynamic of a person that's trying to um uh intimidate me, or to because she didn't seem that nice, like, I mean, to call me a fucking bitch as soon as I sped off, that didn't seem like she was going to be that nice to me. So
Well, she was probably thinking that you were going to stop and talk with her if you're rolling down your window. So I might have said the same thing. Well, back in the day, I
well,
definitely would have said the same thing. Not so
oh,
much now, but
right, but I recognize what's funny about it, or interesting, is that I'm seeing the world from a point of an observer more than ever than before. So before I would take things personally, more. Whereas now it's like, okay, I'm observing her being or acting like this. Um, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not completely accurate about her being a villain, but I guess I see her as a villain because the fact that she didn't get her way and she couldn't talk to me, she's called me names, So I don't know how to completely perceive that, but you know, that's kind of how I probably would have like just let it upset me. And now I'm seeing her for what it is. She's in this what what do you want to call it? The control dynamic. I don't know what, like the Matrix, like in the Matrix, you know, a 3D reality, kind of like, I guess I'm seeing past that, getting caught up in the
Minutia.
huh?
The minutia, the little
Just like,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. So
All
I just
right,
thought,
Sarah Jean, what you got for us? What's your little check-in? And then we can kind of, I guess, come up with the topic based off of these three and run from there.
Yeah. Um, I've had an interesting week. Yesterday I had um my daughter's like kind of boyfriendish dad come over and ask for his son to stay with us. And I was quite shocked. Um, I was like, my daughter's 14 years old. Absolutely not. Like, and then when he, came over and was talking, I saw a different perspective, and I told him, I was like, I kind of laughed at first, but then hearing all of the different sides and like it takes a village to kind of help raise families. He's losing his apartment. His son has been in and out of the hospital, and had different things going on. And Gage and her, like their dynamic, they're able to talk each other off the ledge because they're peers. There's a lot of different things that are going on. And so I had to like really contemplate this whole scenario because here, it's over there. So it's been very interesting. And I'm thinking God is like asking me to write a book on all of this stuff, to be honest with you, because this is not the society norm of what's happening. And it's like I gotta really, really consider all sides with everything with all of this and what's gonna be best for the kids, And so I'm the daughter.
How are you doing?
hi,
What's her name?
Kiara.
Hi, Kiara.
hi,
My name's
Kiara,
Steve. Pleasure to meet you.
Sophia. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I love your hair. It's so pretty.
Thank
The
you.
color and the cut.
Thank you. My mom had it, I dyed it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
My daughter loves doing different hairstyles and dyes too. Anyway.
Yeah.
Same with my daughter.
Oh yeah.
Fuck that team. So,
Yeah, so it's just interesting, this whole dynamic and putting the whole like conditioning aside and really seeing the whole perspective of all of us trying to work together to like best suit the kids that are going through this these days. And it's like we don't know what they're going through, and what is best for them. I'm pretty sure that they know partially, you know, um, and just trying to guide them with that power within themselves, that they have every opportunity to be able to do what they want to do and go in the right direction. So it's weird dynamics that are happening right now, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do with all this. I really don't. And I'm keeping the curious side open rather than my own like judgments or people's opinions about it or anything like that. And just, if you guys have anything on that, let me know, please.
What came to me was what would love do? But that's what came to me, but I have trouble with that myself because I don't know how to receive that like necessarily. I mean, I do my own thing where I'm meditating, I ask God for the answer, but what would love do here? I mean, isn't God love? I mean, love is God, so what would God do, right? But then we are also part of God, so you know, I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah, when you said that, it's like, well, I'm not God, and I'm like, I don't know if I could fill this task. And it's like, well, God wouldn't put this inside of my hands if I couldn't, So there's a lot of like back and forth, like with my ego and with this new situation. And I don't know. It's just It's
would say,
mind boggling. It's like mind blowing for me.
I would,
It's like, okay, there's nothing like there's no books or rules or anything on this kind of stuff. It's like, what are we doing?
do you meditate?
I do it every day.
Okay.
Yeah, every day.
Sometimes I'll ask a question before I meditate, and then I'll kind of receive a feeling or an answer about it. So that might, I don't know, it's just a suggestion. I mean, I know you meditate, but sometimes when you ask the question before you meditate, you'll get the answer.
I have a couple questions for you.
Thank you.
So to speak to Sophia's thing, what would love do when the question was proposed to you, was it based from a love space or from a fear space? I
Um, I don't know. I think it was proposed as like a joke, because that's what James said. He was like, I kind of like just jokingly was kind of throwing it out there when he had messaged my daughter saying, well, what if Gage lived with you guys and I gave you guys rent money and food money for him to stay there while I figure out my stuff? And when she kind of said it to me, I laughed. I literally laughed. I was like, yeah, no, that's never going to happen. Like, you're out of your freaking mind. That's,
Well, they could live in separate rooms, right? I mean, it's
yeah.
not like they would be in separate places of the
Yeah,
house.
they would be in
Okay.
separate bedrooms, but still, you cannot, when there's a will, there's a way, and you cannot stop teenagers that are already doing those kinds of things that's
But
going to happen.
but it's going to
You know?
happen whether it's in your house or not in your house. So that's
Right.
how I see it.
Right. And so it's just, there's a lot of dynamics. That was the biggest concern of mine that I brought up was like, my daughter getting pregnant. I'm like, that's a big issue for me. Like that,
Yeah.
I don't want, there's ways that you can go about that to kind of prevent that from happening, but
Have you had that talk with her?
oh yeah, multiple times. Like I'm very open with
Do you
my
feel
daughter.
that
There's not much that I hide from her
you
because
feel
there's
that
nothing
she's
we can hide from each other. I don't like to insult people's intelligences, It's like, oh well, this
Right.
happened. Let's just go for it,
Yeah, because my daughter is 17 now, to be 18 in December. But she's very mature 17-year-old. A lot of my friends always tell me I can't believe how intelligent, mature your daughter is. So I've had that discussion with her, uh, with the whole sex thing. So I feel confident that she's kind of making the right choices. She's been with her boyfriend for now, like, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. They were friends first, which was a nice thing. And then they didn't even start dating until like maybe 6 months later. And so I feel that she made the right choice. She waited like a long time.
Yeah.
But, then she finally revealed to me that they are. But I've had numerous talks with her about it. And of course, that's been my fear. Like, what if she gets pregnant? I'm like, what would I do? And then also too, I don't believe in abortion necessarily. Probably because I had one when I was younger, and I regretted the decision. So I wouldn't want her to have an abortion. So there's just this dynamic here, but I feel like I've gotten over the fear because I feel like she's being responsible. Like she's proving to me that she's being responsible, and she's, they use protection and all that. So I think my fear went away with it, just talking, having numerous conversations about it. Anyway, so all I know, and I was praying a lot about it and meditating on it as well, because when the subject came up, I was like she shouldn't do anything till she's 18. You know what I mean? But what am I gonna do? Prevent her? Stop her? Like, I don't want to have that dynamic or that relationship with her. I feel like I'm trying to give her free will, but yet have boundaries within that free will. So, but it's challenging, to say the least, but I feel like I'm over that hurdle with her. Like, I feel very confident. She's applying for colleges. So now she's of the age where she's going to be more on her own. I mean, it's a different age. You know, your daughter's 14, so that's a little trickier, but
Yeah, but there's a lot of similarities in there. I don't want to stop her from doing things because that just the more the resistance, the more the persistence on it. And I've
Mhm.
seen how that has worked against me in a lot of realms for her, you know? So um I'm trying to just be in reality. Like here, it's like, okay, well, let's just take that off the table then, you know, and that would propel them forward, you know. If they so choose. They know that there's boundaries with all of this. There's got to be, you know, especially for their safety and everything else. And it's just, it's a lot. Like this is huge. Like everything in my mental state is like saying no. But when I drop down and go into my heart, it's like, yeah, my heart and my feelings are saying, why can't we all work together? Why can't we help each other? You know,
right.
it's just, I've got to be real about my situation, you know, and there's a lot of dynamics here that I don't know. I just, I don't know if I want to bring another one into all of that world right now, you know? So
uh,
just interesting.
yeah, can I ask a couple other things? Is this the same boy that lived with you before? Is this not? This is so, but it's based around the same daughter, your daughter. All right, so it was
Yeah.
another friend that. How's he doing? I'm curious.
Well,
I hope he fucking falls off the bridge.
okay, Kira, whoa, back that off.
That's what happened.
Yeah, she's a little aggressive.
I get it from my mom. I get it from my mom.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things that happen with that. I had kicked that boy out like a while ago. And the dad was able to be responsible for him. There was just a lot of things that were happening. But
I have stuff to tell you.
okay.
Yeah,
But yeah.
because that's not even a full story.
So he hasn't been around for quite some time.
All right. Well, I knew it had been about a few weeks. So I was curious. Yeah.
Oh, you mean with the boy that stayed the night for one night?
That got a job and
Yeah, so
supposedly-
he's still sleeping on the streets actually.
is he?
Out like he was supposed to stay with a friend. Wow, I thought you were talking about a different one that happened a year ago, and that's interesting.
Oh,
No,
this Josh.
so Josh, I dropped him off at a friend's house and he was supposed to stay there and he ended up staying out on the streets. And he got robbed and was in a hospital for a couple of days and we sent him money. And it's just sad. Like it's just sad the dynamics that are happening with these teenagers out here. My daughter, she's like right in the middle of seeing a lot of it, you know, and what's happening with the kids. And it's a lot. Like I wish I could house all of them, to be honest with you, but I can't, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like, it's big, it's huge.
Hmm.
I was
Yeah.
also going to say, okay, the distinguishing heroing versus following your heart. So I had a situation where my daughter has a really good friend of hers, and with her boyfriend, similar. And her dad was being abusive toward her. And she kind of, it was a little, I don't know, it was going on for a little bit. And my daughter kind of insinuated something about her coming to stay with us or live with us.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, well, my hero part wanted to do that, right? My hero side, right? So like,
Mhm.
I wanted to just jump up and be like, yes, come, but you have to also help with, you know, you have to contribute kind of thing. And, but then I kind of recognized that that was my hero side. And same thing with my daughter's boyfriend. But what's interesting is that I prayed about it and meditated about it. And I realized this is my hero acting up. And I feel like she needs to go through this journey. Like, you know, she needs to figure things out, my daughter's friend. And then with my daughter's boyfriend, something similar happened where he was starting to stay over a lot of nights. And then just, it was also my hero side that was like wanting to, like have him maybe stay. But then I saw the other side of it because I talked to my daughter about it. And I'm like, this is not healthy, like for you guys to be together this young on an everyday basis. Because I kind of saw the dynamic, what was going on. Like the more time he was here, the more they seemed like there was a little more bickering or something. So I first asked my daughter, what are you okay with? And she was okay. She was good with the fact that no, like he should just be here maybe 1 or 2 days a week on the weekends or something. Because she also likes her space and stuff. So what's interesting about the whole thing is I prayed on it and all that, and I was going to call the mother because the stepfather's abusive toward him, and I was going to, I was about to make a call to the mother and be like, well, what's going on? Because if he were to stay with us, that would be more food, and that would be, it'd be a lot on me, right? So, but it ended up working itself out. I feel like once the hero part of me was like, no, I can't be this hero right now, is when things started like working out for both those situations. So I don't know. Just heroing versus like, yes, you want to come from your heart, but are you wanting to hero? Because that situation with his family, they might have to work something out on their own and figure out their own journey. And maybe you're interrupting that. I don't know. Maybe they have to hit rock bottom together.
I feel that.
Yeah.
And so what I've felt through all this maybe is like, and it's come up recently, is like seek first to understand and kind of understanding like these situations. And I feel like it's based around children from what we've been speaking on. So I'm kind of coming at it from this angle for writing stuff down the rest of this time. But I'm enjoying these conversations because it's huge. My kids started school today in the public school.
Oh, nice.
It is nice. I had my preference of being able to create like our own space and be able to do that within the village. It's just not the right time at this moment. And, this will give them an opportunity to be, be able to see, I guess, maybe that space, and they'll get to experience what public school stuff is all about. And they're going into an all Spanish speaking school, so they'll pick that up hopefully very quickly. They do have the English teacher that's been appointed to kind of looking after them while they're getting adjusted. And I look forward to hearing their seeking first to understand their first day of school at this place later on.
How cool.
So I talked to them last night before they went to bed, and they were excited and nervous, both of them. And so it was beautiful to hear that excitement and nervousness, and that they were able to speak their emotions, and what they were feeling. So
That's really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the good part about it, Stephen, is that they get to learn Spanish.
yeah, they should be. I feel that Riker was born down here, so I feel like he should have been born with the knowledge of Spanish. Kidding, obviously. Where we've been has pretty much all been English speaking spaces, so it's like been either very touristic areas or a lot of expats that live. So we haven't been in much Spanish speaking spaces in Costa Rica, which is crazy.
Very interesting.
What's expats? What's expats?
People from the States or from other places, like that don't live in their original country. So,
oh, interesting.
I mean, obviously the village here is is all expats. There's, I mean, especially during the pandemic, there's so many people from Europe that moved over here, like Israel and Germany. Like I saw such an influx from people from those spaces. And I actually a lot of the Israelis just ended up meeting each other and getting their own communities going that are like now Israeli communities here, you know. So um,
Oh.
yeah,
So
it's been
I was gonna,
interesting.
I was gonna say if Sarah and I were to visit, I was gonna wonder like then we'd have no trouble. I mean, well, I speak Spanish, but I was wondering if I was to go visit, would I be able to have a chance to speak Spanish to anybody?
You definitely would be able to. Uh, so we lived in Manuel Antonio, which is like 80% of the money that goes through there is all based around tourism. So the Ticos that live there or the Costa Ricans that live there, they want to learn English because that gets them a job, a better job, more money. And if they're so pretty much all the Ticos in that area want to learn English. They don't want to even speak Spanish. They speak Spanish enough at home. So, like, my friends wouldn't even really speak Spanish with me. So I was like translating for them what it was in English, and I wouldn't really be having a conversation in Spanish. I would just know the words of translation for them and speak in English. And I probably should have done it the other way. I probably should have spoke Spanish back to them. Looking back at it, that's
I was gonna
hindsight.
say, I have a solution for you. Want to hear it?
Go ahead.
Say, I don't speak English.
Mm.
You know that happened to me in Germany? Because my first year there, everybody was coming to me and trying to practice their English. And then I just kept praying about it. I'm like, how am I gonna learn German? Like, I want to learn German pretty good, pretty well. And I had this group of American friends. I'm like, I'm gonna stop hanging out with them because it's all I do is speak, I'm not practicing my German. So one day these guys approached me and they were like trying to speak to me in English. And I was like, no hablo inglés. I'm like, not, no, I said in German, it's like, I don't speak English. And they're like, yeah, you do. You're American, right? Or I'm like, nope. I'm like, I don't speak English. So they're like, where are you from? I'm like, from Barcelona. In German, all in German. And so that was my MO from that point on. I'm like, I'm from like if somebody wanted until my German got better. And then once my German got better is when people stopped wanting to practice because my German was like more fluent and they could relate more better to me. But they would right away notice my American accent and right away want to practice for English. But anyway, that was my solution that I thought of.
Luckily, we have Spanish classes here at the village now, 3 days a week, so we're getting some practice in.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been beautiful. Actually, our chef, he teaches the classes, Chef Larry.
How cool.
And that's what we've been doing, like within the village aspect is um yeah, just everybody's holding like a little different space here and there. Um and I was trying to correlate that to what you have going on, Sarah, like the village and community, and you're saying you wanted to do a book or something on those lines.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I
I was
have
gonna go ahead.
I was going to say I have a feeling that this is going to be something that becomes that happens more often in the future, like as we're progressing down whatever avenue we're progressing down, is that this may be something that occurs more. So you may be paving a path there if that is an accurate assessment.
Kind of, yeah, because I hold meditation groups and we also have like D&D nights, and I have people that come over all the time, like kids, ages fluctuating all between like 10 and 25,
What are
So
D&D nights? What are those?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so like one of the girls that is part of our meditation group, that's like her favorite thing. So upstairs, I created this whole game room with like tables and chairs, and we are going to paint the upstairs and make it like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing. But she's the I guess, dungeon master, and she creates all of these plots that we have to get through. And we're like these magical beings that help, you know, defeat the dragon. So it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna reference to earlier what you were talking about. So do you see yourself heroing, or you see yourself acting or
I
coming
don't
from
see
your
myself
heart?
here. I don't see myself heroing anymore. Partially protection with my daughter. I can see that, but otherwise than that, no, it's like I've been kind of putting the ball in their court, being curious, asking a lot of questions just so I can see the full dynamic of everything and what would be best for everyone moving forward, not just one person, right? You know, and not with the same mentality that we've been going into it, like, oh, this is right and wrong, or, you know, like, well, we're kind of putting it as like an experiment kind of thing and seeing where it goes and putting the ball in their court to have power as far as like what they're going to do with their lives, you know, because what they've been doing is kind of crazy on the opposite scale, you know, to try to get their way, and there's a lot of resistance, and because we're saying no and all these different things, so we're like, maybe if we take that off the equation, maybe they might work towards us, you know, and us all work together. So I don't know, it's just a very interesting way of looking at it, and a lot of parts came up for me, and I'm just really glad that I'm able to like see it this way right now, at least in this space, you know. So that's good, because normally
Yeah,
I would get like super emotional and be like, you know, like, no, not at all, like, not gonna happen, like my roar came out, you know, like, lioness kind of part.
yeah. Because like what happens to me is that sometimes I get overwhelmed, or I'm coming to the point where I'm recognizing what I can handle, when I can't. Um, and so because I do need to balance my life with self-care, and take care of me. So certain situations arise, then I have to make a decision where I might be a little confused for a little bit, but I make a decision what's best for me. Um, you know, I try to think more for me than, let's just say, anybody else, like my daughter and her boyfriend. You know, I used to think more for others, like, well, what would be good for others? No, what's good for me? Because then I can't overflow my cup. I can't be the best I can be, you know, as a mother or as a person or as a friend, or, you know, or as a mother-in-law or whoever, you know. So that's kind of how I'm assessing my life now.
That's the master class that I'm working on, the selflessly selfish.
That's
That's
awesome.
good, I love that.
Is
Yeah.
based around not being a people pleaser, filling up my cup first so then I can, yeah, do others, and also working on boundaries and working through guilt in that regards as well. Because I never
Nice.
really had boundaries set up. But
Yeah. Boundaries are definitely a must. It's healthy to have boundaries. I've had to learn that too.
then the old people in our test those boundaries are not used to those boundaries, so then they guilt trip you, and that's also the guilt aspect of it, is like how to deal with that guilt from people guilt tripping you and standing
Well,
strong in that.
they guilt trip you if you allow them to guilt trip you. That's how I see it. Like,
The true, and the attempt is there.
it's, yeah. I don't buy into it anymore. I don't. Yeah. I
But then
do.
you have strong boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably better than I used to. Much
Yeah,
better.
sacred no's are always a really good thing to have.
I start out every request by saying no now, and then I say, let me feel into it, and I give myself time to feel into it fully, because usually as a people pleaser, I would just say yes right off the top, and then I'd be like, what the fuck did I say yes for? Like, I have so much stuff going on, and I'm trying to fill this in here somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
can tell it. Yeah.
that was my hot seat on Monday, because I was doing so Melissa's mother is here. Me and me and Melissa's mom have had like such a beautiful connection, and she's she was the one person back in the US that I could speak to like on a spiritual level, like, and those conversations didn't happen often enough, but and at the same time it was the one person that was where at least I was or had, close, and it was nice because it was a different perspective too, and opened up my mind to be able to. And when you have only one person to speak to in that realm, like, it doesn't matter. It's like, all right, I'll listen just because I can actually speak my perspective on this stuff and allowing it to flow out. My point being is that I was doing the the books, the accounting for a family business, and in that process, I was I would send out an invoice to a company, and then I was supposed to do taxes on it, and that's the key part, was supposed to. So I wasn't. I got locked out of the bank account, and I thought it was intentional. So I was like, all right, I can do the invoicing. So I'd still do the invoicing, and then wasn't doing the taxes. So she brought this up, and it was like, this was basically my last thing that I've had tied to like the old world, and uh, yeah. So I was, I didn't really want to do it, but it was also for the family, and so I was kind of like in between, in that space where um, that it ended up turning into an obligation as well. So I was doing a little bit of it, not all of it. Come back now, the taxes are due because it was the end of the year and there was a bunch of money owed. So I took responsibility for that, and now have wiped my hands clean from that space. And she was upset at me, obviously, a little bit, but she said, one, on Monday when we spoke through it, and that was what was brought up at the breakfast table. And we spent until 2 o'clock going through all of this and feeling through it. And I think there was another breakthrough for somebody else. So that's why we were there extra long on Monday. But what was the point of that?
Boundaries,
Oh yeah. So
boundaries.
I had an opportunity to say no
Self-love.
to it, and I said yes, being a people
Self-love.
pleaser. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but now I've created boundaries. I've learned how to stand by them, doing the sovereign no right off of the top, and giving myself time to actually feel through it. And I let the person know that I am going to take some time to think through it, but I always started off with no. And it's worked so beautifully, and it's allowed me to have a hard, very far out boundary that allows me to go inside that boundary and feel into it if it's something that I really can, if I really am inspired to help do, not even help, but if I'm inspired to do it, and feel into, if I have time. And yeah.
I was gonna
That
say,
sounds like that's the song.
saying no and not being sorry about it. How about that?
Yeah.
Like, saying no and I'm not sorry. I'm saying no and I'm not sorry.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's all about boundaries. Song about boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the beginning you were talking about an energetic boundary. You're like, okay, no, I'm not gonna let this person like yell at me. I'm just gonna keep driving, right? And so like
Mhm.
energetically, you were saying no to her already. You
Right,
just kept
right.
driving up. And then I'm kind of like in a curious stage of saying yes or no. I'm on the borderline, of like trying to make the decision. And then Stephen was talking about like saying no right off the bat, just like wait till you feel it all the way through. So sounds like a really good song already with that.
And then you got to think about it in the light of like So if you say no, what's the worst that can happen? I mean, you know what I mean? People have to figure out their own problems, their own situations, because maybe they're meant to grow in that aspect. You know, maybe their lives are a mess, and it's so messy that they have to undo the mess. And by you kind of like helping them to undo the mess, you may be creating more of a mess. Or not create, but it's maybe creating more of a mess, because then they're getting the help that they need instead of figuring things out on their own.
Yeah, and it also gives time and space for it to breathe, you know, and like really fully develop, like, because a lot of people, when there's stuff going on, like you can tell, like people are wanting an answer right then and there. And you giving yourself time and giving yourself grace, like it also allows them, maybe they might come up with a different opportunity, you know, or a different avenue, like letting it just fully soak in and marinate with the idea, and not giving an answer right away is probably the best solution for everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to sit on it. That's what I'll say. I'm going to sit
Yeah.
on it. My one girlfriend, she asked me if I can go to this funeral with her on Saturday. I just told her I'm going to sit on it, because it's my mother's good friend, Steve. It's fine. His name is Steve. He passed away a few weeks ago. And so I feel like she wants me to go to keep her company. And I didn't know him as well as she did or my mother did, but I feel like in my mind,
Sorry.
wait, I like this high flying disc I'm on. And I kind of sense that if I were to go to the funeral, that I might be pulled, my energy might be pulled down a little bit, because of the sadness, you know, at funerals. And, you know, so I'm kind of like debating, and I feel like I'm not going to go, because I'm on this high flying disc, and I'm so busy and taking on new things in my life that I just don't think I have room to dip down in my vibration right now. So it's like guarding my, even though, yes, it'd be nice to go, pay my respects, but you know, if I have my blinders on and I'm on this path of like a high flying disc, you know, I don't want to interrupt that. You know, that's being like selfish, right? Like selflessly selfish. But that's how I'm feeling, you know.
Well, if that's how you're feeling, follow those feelings.
Yeah, because it also hurts everyone around you. You know, I've recognized when my sacred knows for things, when it's pulling me down, it's like, well, I'm only going to pull you down with me. Hurt people hurt people. And right now I'm feeling pretty hurt. So I'm going to distance myself from you, you know? So it's also helping others when you help yourself, when you know that you're just not in the space to be able to give that, you know, so honor that,
And
honor that big time.
this actually speaks to something that we've been talking about here too, which is within a commitment. Like when you do a commitment, going 100% into that commitment. So you don't hold back anything, because if you hold back anything, you're not fully committed to it anyway. So, and you also like leave a little bit on the table. So you don't really even know if that's the true fruit of it, because you didn't put 100% focus and energy into that space. And with this example that you're speaking of, you know, like that could turn into resentment, because you have this 2% that you're thinking about. Even if you had 2% that's back, you know, at home on your, you know, whatever you may be working on, that's taking away from you from being fully present there, fully committed to that experience with your friend and in honor of another friend, um, that passed the transition. So yeah, that I feel like that is big on this as well as 100%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then she did say something to the effect of, at the very end of the conversation, she's like, well, it would be just, it would be awesome if you could just come, because I don't feel like going alone. So then there's that hero part of me that wants to be like, oh, okay, I'll go because you want me to go, you know? But then I have to just think, you know, that's why I said I'll sit on it. I'm not gonna make any promises, you know? So
I
I'm
mean, she
sitting on
needs to
it.
go alone.
Yeah, maybe she does. Exactly.
If she goes along, who knows? Maybe there'll be a guy there. I don't know if she's single or not, but she, you know, so that might be an opportunity that she misses.
She is single, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that. He's psychic.
She is single and she is looking for a guy.
So, I mean, other than weddings, the next best place is funerals.
Oh, really? I never knew that.
Mom, leave us.
What was it? The Wedding Crashers? Have you
That's
seen
what
that
that
movie?
was. Yeah.
Yeah, the Wedding
Yeah.
Crashers, and he started crashing funerals.
Yeah, that was a funny movie. I loved that movie.
The fun was real. The fun was real, guys.
Ah.
That's
Um,
cool.
all right, so we reached 11. Well, my time anyway. So we done. Is there anything else that you have, either one of you have coming up for you?
Um,
Just boundaries, sacred no's, and sorry, not sorry.
I didn't write it down like that, but I like that. Sorry, not sorry.
oh yeah, sorry, not sorry. So what did you write down the line, I'm saying no and I'm not sorry? What do you think of that line?
I did.
Play with it.
That was the one I wrote down, and we'll be able to use both in there.
Okay. I feel like we're getting a little backlogged, but at least these are ideas that we can always,
Not
know.
just that, people pleasing. I'll send you a song by Kat Burns. It's called People Pleaser, and it's such a great song, and it reminds me of what we were just talking about. And you might be able to pick a little bit out of there for some inspiration, and that could be part of the song as well.
What's the name of the artist?
Kat Burns, C-A-T Burns, B-U-R-N-S.
Okay.
And it's called People Pleaser.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, she writes a lot of beautiful songs that hit right home. So she's like one of my new coming up artists that I like a lot. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. She's
Well,
really, really good.
I'll go check out the song here
Yeah.
momentarily.
So you have your thing going on today, Sarah? Every week, right?
I do, yeah, at 1:00.
Is that to my time? What time is
Yep.
that? Okay. I might go. I'm thinking of going.
Love you. Love to have you.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Woo-hoo.
I'll be there.
I have a quick question. Because
Yeah.
I know you guys probably have to eat or something, but so when with the new masterclass, how do you market it? What do you do? You put it in the Facebook group? You put it in the village? What do you do?
Do you want to speak to it? Or I can speak to it.
We can both speak to it because I'm pretty sure we both have different answers to it. I mean, I put it in the Earthwaking Visionaries Facebook group and the New Pioneers group. And then I also talk about it in the Visionary class the first time yesterday, just because it's for the visionaries, and you can also put it on the Tree of Life. And inside of the Mighty Networks space as well, you can put it in there. Christy can help putting it in there. But
Wait, so Tree of Life or My Networks or both?
I think it's through the Tree of Life, but it's on Mighty Networks.
Okay.
So within Tree of Life, you create basically what your offer is, and then you can share that within the village, the virtual village, and it's probably going to be within the visionary program, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not in the Earthwaking Village where you go see on the left tabs like master classes. That how come they don't have a tab for that? They just have programs and events and tribes, but they don't have
It's on events. It's on there, and you'll see it. Yeah, you'll see most of the things on events, like people's connection calls, or like coffee house, or.
Yeah, but I haven't seen all that. I've gone on there, and I don't always see different things that I'm looking for, like Caleb's breathing class. I didn't see that in there. or different
That's
other.
yeah, he doesn't have it hosted yet on that platform yet, but he puts it in the chat on Tuesday nights for the visionary class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I can go anyway, because I think it coincides with my breakthrough class. But and I want to run by the title. I want to ask you guys what you think. So we came up with this title, but so yours is this greatness I see in you, right? Is it just that's it?
Yep, the greatness I see in you
Online?
masterclass. Yeah.
Okay. Can you have a subtitle? Like, are you able to have a subtitle as well? Or
I'm pretty sure you can. You're the one creating it.
right. Because I was thinking something along the lines of like, well, I thought gratitude rampages and the alignment process. But then I thought, well, why not call it from hateful to grateful? And then subtitle it what I just said, which is what I just said.
Gratitude rampage.
Gratitude rampages and the alignment process. And then I was thinking, well, I want to put in the class something about signs and wonders where people can kind of recognize, maybe at some point what the signs are, the wonders of their manifestations. So I don't know how to fit all that in, but I was just kind of like, anyway, I just wanted to run it by you guys, see what you thought. But I'm
Yeah,
gonna run it by Kirk too. So
the idea of basically having a title and then maybe like a little slogan, it fits for what you kind of got going on. And I don't know which order it would be between the two. I'd have to feel into that a little bit. I mean, I feel like the Grateful to Hateful Masterclass, or
Of the hateful to grateful.
oh yeah, did I say it backwards?
We want to do the opposite way.
that would be funny. Grateful to hate.
Transformation for evil.
But the hateful and grateful, I want to also say it's just symbolic. It doesn't mean you have to be hateful, or you're being, the whole hateful is just like the connotation of it from going from one place to another. But, anyway, but.
What's the other one? It is the Gratitude Rampage or something?
Gratitude rampages and the alignment process. That would be the subtitle. But initially I was just going to call it gratitude rampages. That's it by itself. But I kind of like hateful to grateful because I can talk about how I was hating my life. And then once I started doing gratitude rampages, it really helped me started, I don't know, just started me on this path of really loving, appreciating life. And then it kind of helped me match my feelings to my desires. Right. So
I don't know how to feel into this, Sophia. This just came through. It's get in the attitude of gratitude, hateful to grateful.
Okay. But both or just one?
Yeah, like that would be the subtitle would be hateful to grateful, but get in the attitude of gratitude masterclass.
Okay. I like that. Okay. Get into the attitude of gratitude. Okay.
Hateful to grateful with Sophia Sorensen.
Grateful to Hateful by Stephen Heller.
Selfishly self. So is this going to be selfishly selfless, or that's
the other way around? Selflessly selfish.
Oh, okay. I'm doing what you did. Selfless, selfishly selfless. Okay, cool.
Selflessly selfish.
Yeah, you did it again.
I did. It's selfless. Okay. Selflessly
selfish.
Okay. I thought I did it the right. Okay. Okay. Cool.
I love it.
So yeah, I'll play around with stuff. And now there's more choices. I don't know. Since I'm a Libra, I don't like choices.
Well, as a Libra, you like balance, and you'll get a nice balance of two. One for the title, one for the slogan, tagline.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Well, if you guys, I guess we'll see each other in a little bit, right?
Yeah. See you in an hour.
50 minutes.
15 minutes. See ya.
All right. Pleasure, ladies. See you in a little bit. Ciao, Kitty.
Ciao.